Have you ever stood at a fork in the road, clutching a relationship that feels like an old, comfortable sweater, worn thin and full of holes, yet you just can't seem to let it go? You know the one, it's familiar, it's safe, but deep inside, a quiet voice whispers that it's actually the very thing keeping you from becoming who you were meant to be. It's a bitter realization, isn't it? Coming to terms with the fact that some of the people we've shared our most intimate moments with, the laughter, the tears, the secrets, might not be destined to walk beside us for the entire journey. It's a harsh truth that sits heavy in your chest. But here's where the ancient, enduring logic of Stoicism casts a brilliant, clarifying light on our modern-day emotional turmoil. The Stoics, masters of navigating the human condition, understood that true personal evolution frequently demands we make excruciatingly difficult choices about who we permit into our most sacred inner world. This isn't about indiscriminately slamming doors on people with cold indifference. No, it's about carefully and intentionally curating your life, purposefully choosing connections that nourish your soul, ignite your spirit, and challenge you to ascend to your highest potential. So, if you find yourself at that very intersection, feeling the profound gravity of a decision that could irrevocably alter your life's direction, please understand you are not alone. Today, we are going to delve deep into the heart of Stoic wisdom to explore the definitive signs that it's time to lovingly release certain bonds, creating the necessary space for fresh growth, more profound connections, and a life that aligns perfectly with your ultimate virtues. Stay with me as we navigate this profound journey together, guided by timeless teachings that are as relevant today as they were millennia ago. Are you ready to uncover the freedom and peace that blossom from selecting your relationships with wisdom, courage, and intentionality? Sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is let someone go. When a relationship actively hinders your personal development, it's a glaring warning signal. Pause and ponder this. Have you ever experienced a nagging sensation of stagnation, like you're running in place because someone close to you isn't just failing to encourage you, but is in fact actively thwarting your progress? It's an incredibly difficult position to be in, isn't it? Seneca championed the cause of perpetual self-improvement and personal mastery. He argued that to lead a truly meaningful existence, we must be in a state of constant evolution, learning, expanding, and testing our boundaries. So, if you are ensnared in a relationship, be it with a friend, a relative, or a partner, where you sense your personal evolution is being stifled, Seneca would likely assert that this is a flag of the deepest crimson, a warning you simply cannot afford to ignore. This isn't to suggest that every single relationship must be a relentless engine of self-improvement or a launchpad for world records. However, the people who genuinely care for you should harbor a desire to see you prosper and thrive. They should constitute your personal cheering squad, your safety net, not ballast that weighs you down into the murky depths of what if and if only. It's a worthwhile endeavor to sit with yourself and conduct a candid, heart-to-heart inquiry. Ask yourself, what is the true reason I am clinging to this bond? Is it born of inertia, a fear of the unknown, or a misplaced sense of duty? These are challenging questions, but they are absolutely vital, because, at its core, a genuine connection, the kind that's truly worth your time and emotional investment, should elevate you. It should instill in you a profound belief that you are capable of becoming more today than you were yesterday. Stoicism imparts the importance of forging a circle of influence that contributes positively to our life's tapestry. It's not merely about the quantity of friends or the pursuit of universal popularity. It's about carefully cultivating a circle that enhances your existence, encourages your development, and harmonizes with your fundamental values. Thus, if you perceive your relationship more as quicksand than a launch pad, it is perhaps time to re-evaluate its role in your life. And remember, it is not an act of selfishness to want to evolve. It's a fundamental part of being human. And sometimes, that growth necessitates letting go of those who cannot keep pace, not with resentment, but with deep gratitude for the lessons they imparted and the inner fortitude you've gained from knowing precisely when to say goodbye. We've all, at some point, been caught in the relentless vortex of negative emotions within a relationship. Have you ever found yourself in a dynamic where it seems like drama is the main course and genuine support is nowhere to be found on the menu? It is utterly draining, isn't it? Marcus Aurelius offered powerful, enduring insights into navigating our emotional landscape. He famously stated that while we cannot control external events, our dominion over our own minds is absolute, and recognizing this is where our true, unassailable power resides. This principle is a paradigm shift when applied to relationships that are saturated with jealousy, anger, or any other corrosive emotion. Think carefully. If your interaction feels more like a perpetual battlefield than a sanctuary of peace, it's a signal, loud and clear, that something fundamental has to change. These intense emotions, while a natural part of the human experience, should never be the foundation or defining traits of a lasting, peaceful bond. Now, I'm not implying we can or should endeavor to live entirely devoid of anger or jealousy. That would be akin to trying to breathe underwater. What Marcus Aurelius teaches us is that we are in the driver's seat regarding our reactions to these feelings. If jealousy surfaces because a friend is progressing while you feel stagnated, or if anger bubbles up every time a certain individual undermines you, remember, you hold the reins to your own response. You possess the power to choose not to let these destructive emotions dictate the terms of your relationship. But what does this manifest as in practice? It commences with acute awareness, recognizing the emotion as it arises and questioning its source. Why am I feeling this? What can this teach me? How can I respond in a manner that aligns with the person I aspire to become? These are not simple questions, but they are crucial. And occasionally, the healthiest response is to create distance or implement a change. It's not about running from problems, but rather acknowledging that if a relationship's core is defined more by dragging each other into negative spirals than by lifting one another up, a reassessment is overdue. This isn't an admission of failure or a verdict that the other person is a villain. It's simply recognizing that not every connection is meant to weather every season of our existence. And that is perfectly acceptable. The Stoics emphasized living in accordance with nature, and often the natural course of things is to diverge. So, if you find yourself perpetually wrestling with negativity in any of your relationships, take a moment to meditate on Marcus's wisdom. Remember, the power over your mind, your reactions, and ultimately the choice to surround yourself with positive, supportive energies rests firmly with you. It is within these nurturing environments that we truly flourish, grow, and discover peace. Let's refuse to let drama be our story. Let's now confront a difficult but crucial subject, the dynamics of manipulation and control in our personal connections. In any relationship, feeling like you are a puppet rather than a partner is a massive, undeniable red flag. It is time we openly discuss autonomy, freedom, and the sagacious advice of Epictetus, who once asserted that no one is truly free who is not master of themselves. Ponder that for a moment. According to Epictetus, genuine freedom is an internal state, forged from self-mastery over our actions, decisions, and ultimately, our very lives. So, what does this imply for us when we find ourselves in connections where we feel we are not the captains of our own fate? where our decisions, desires, and even our thoughts seem to be subjected to another's control. It is a sign, clear and piercing, that something is fundamentally amiss. Manipulation and control often creep in subtly. It could be the constant helpful suggestions that slowly steer you away from your passions, or more overt demands that dictate who you should be. These are not the hallmarks of a nourishing relationship. Authentic connections are built upon the twin pillars of mutual respect and freedom. Stoicism illuminates the paramount importance of autonomy, being the master of your own vessel. If you find yourself perpetually second-guessing your choices, or sensing that your wings are being clipped, it's time to ask a profound question. Why? Why remain in a dynamic that stifles your freedom and prevents you from authoring your own life story? Here's the hard truth. Severing ties with someone who is manipulating or controlling you isn't an act of cruelty. It's an act of profound self-respect. It is about honoring your inherent worth, your autonomy, and your birthright to live a life that is genuinely your own. It's about heeding Epictetus's wisdom and reclaiming your freedom. The freedom to make your own choices, to evolve, and to live a life congruent with your deepest values. And yes, the decision to walk away can be terribly difficult. It may mean letting go of someone you care for deeply. But remember, Stoicism is not the philosophy of the easy path. It is the philosophy of the right path. And sometimes, the right path is the one that leads us away from harm and towards a more authentic, fulfilling existence. True relationships are those that respect our individuality and encourage us to question, explore, and grow. They don't try to mold us or dictate our path. So, if you feel like you're a puppet on a string, meditate on Epictetus's words. Ask yourself if the time has come to cut those strings and embrace the breathtaking freedom of being authentically you. What happens when a relationship begins to inflict more harm than good? When time spent with someone leaves you feeling more depleted than energized, more stressed than supported, it's a glaring red flag. It's like you're constantly navigating a minefield, trapped in a cycle of conflict, or simply feeling a persistent gloom in their presence. These are obvious signs that something is seriously off-kilter. Healthy connections are supposed to feel uplifting. They're meant to enrich our lives, bringing joy and acting as a bastion of support through life's inevitable ups and downs. They are not designed to complicate our existence with relentless stress or make us question our fundamental value. The Stoics were ardent advocates of living in harmony with nature, our own nature included, and in the pursuit of a life marked by virtue and tranquility. They recognized the vital importance of fostering relationships that align with these principles. So, if you are ensnared in a relationship that pulls you away from peace and from being your best self, consider what the ancient Stoics might advise. They would likely encourage you to detach and examine the situation with objective clarity. Ask yourself, is this relationship contributing to my well-being? Is it fostering my growth as a person? Or is it a wellspring of negativity, a parasite draining your vitality? If the answer leans towards the latter, it is time to question whether this connection truly serves your highest good. Remember, Stoicism teaches the immense value of self-awareness and the courage to make hard choices for your own well-being. It's not about being cold. It's about recognizing what is genuinely beneficial for you in the long run. This isn't to say a rough patch is grounds for termination, but if you are consistently feeling worse because of someone's presence, it's a sign that change is necessary. Healthy relationships may have their struggles, but at their core, they are pillars of support, love, and mutual growth. If you're nodding along, feeling the resonance of this in your own life, take a moment to consider your next steps. Open, honest communication might be the key. But if things don't improve, remember that prioritizing your peace is not selfish, it's essential. Your peace is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Let's resolve to nurture connections that feel healthy and additive, because we all deserve relationships that bring us joy, growth, and tranquility. A lack of mutual respect is a fundamental deal breaker. Without it, there's no foundation for anything positive. It's like building a house on sand. Eventually, the whole structure will crumble. The Stoics, who placed immense importance on living a virtuous life, emphasized both self-respect and the respect we owe to others. They firmly believed in the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, a principle that should be reflected in how we treat one another. Therefore, if you find yourself in a relationship where you are not being treated with the dignity you inherently deserve, it's a massive red flag. It's not simply about feeling undervalued. It's about recognizing that a fundamental aspect of your humanity is being disregarded. Mutual respect is the bedrock upon which trust, love, and true understanding are built. If that is absent, what are you left with? An empty, unfulfilling connection that simply isn't worth your time or emotional investment. Now, I can almost hear the counter-arguments, but what if I really care about this person? It's a valid point. Relationships are complex. However, Stoicism guides us with a call for clarity, rationality, and living in alignment with our highest principles. The Stoics would encourage us to step back and assess the situation through this lens. Are you being true to yourself by staying where you are not respected? Are you honoring your own worth? If the answer is no, then a serious reassessment is in order. This might not mean cutting someone out with cold precision. Instead, it could involve setting clearer boundaries or having a heart-to-heart conversation. But sometimes, it means acknowledging that it's time to move on. Remember, demanding respect is not arrogant. It's a reflection of the self-worth the Stoics believed each of us should cultivate. It's about living with integrity. So, if you are grappling with a lack of respect, reflect on what that means for your well-being. Determine how to address it in a way that honors your dignity, because you deserve to be in relationships where respect is the standard. Feeling tethered to illusions rather than reality is another profound warning. At its heart, Stoicism is about acceptance, accepting the reality of our lives as it is, not as we wish it to be. The Stoics, with their pragmatic and grounded approach, teach that there is profound strength and liberation in seeing things clearly, without the rose-tinted glasses of fantasy. So, what does this mean for our relationships? It means taking a hard, honest look and asking, is this rooted in reality, or am I clinging to a fantasy? Am I ignoring red flags, glossing over issues, or projecting an image onto someone that doesn't match who they truly are? If so, you're doing yourself no favors. Being chained to illusions can feel like you're stuck in a desert mirage. From a distance, it appears perfect, but as you get closer, you realize it's just shimmering hot air, devoid of substance. This isn't to say hope and aspiration have no place. They do. But there's a fine line between healthy aspiration and losing yourself in a fantasy that prevents you from engaging with reality. Embracing the truth, as the Stoics would advise, is about confronting these illusions head-on. It's about having the courage to recognize and accept the reality of our relationships, even when it's uncomfortable or painful. This is no easy task. It requires honesty and vulnerability that can be daunting. Yet, there is incredible power in truth. It is the foundation upon which genuine, meaningful relationships are built. The process of embracing reality over illusion can be transformative. It might mean acknowledging a relationship isn't what you thought, or that the person isn't who you hoped they would be. This can be a bitter pill, but it's a crucial step toward genuine growth and emotional freedom. It opens the door to authentic connections where you can love and be loved for who you truly are. So, if you feel tethered to illusions, take a moment to reflect. What aspects are real, and what have you embellished? How does this misalignment affect your happiness? Remember, Stoicism is not pessimism. It's about finding peace by aligning yourself with the truth of how things are. Compromising your core values should never be an option. These principles are the compass that guides our decisions and actions. But what happens when a relationship challenges those very values, asking you to betray what you hold dear? It's a tough scenario that demands our attention. The Stoics would argue that compromising our core values for a relationship is a price too high to pay. Why? Because our values are the essence of who we are. They shape our identity and how we interact with the world. To compromise them is to lose a part of yourself, and that's a loss no relationship is worth. A relationship that requires you to act against your principles is toxic. It might start small, but these compromises add up, eroding your sense of self. This isn't about normal sacrifices. It's about betraying the very core of your being. The Stoics teach that integrity and virtue are practical guides for living a good life. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca all emphasized staying true to oneself. This alignment gives our lives meaning. So, if a relationship demands you betray your values, pause and reflect. Is it serving your highest good, or is it asking you to be someone you're not? It's a difficult situation to navigate, but rational analysis can be your ally. Assessing the relationship through the lens of your values allows you to make decisions that honor who you are. And remember, walking away isn't a failure. It's an act of courageous self-respect. It's a declaration that you value yourself enough to only accept relationships that uplift and respect you. Let's live with the integrity the Stoics admired. Ensure your relationships reflect your values, because your adherence to them is what leads you to true fulfillment. When we speak of reciprocity, we are discussing the crucial balance of give and take. It's about mutual support where both parties contribute. But what happens when this balance is off, when you find yourself in a one-sided relationship, constantly giving but rarely receiving? It's a situation many of us have faced, and it is far from ideal. Reciprocity is key to the health and longevity of any bond. A relationship where one person is always the giver and the other always the receiver is fundamentally out of kilter. It can foster resentment, exhaustion, and underappreciation on the giver's side, and dependency or entitlement on the receiver's. This imbalance undermines the essence of a healthy relationship. The Stoics emphasized the importance of mutual support. They believed in contributing to the well-being of others, but not at the expense of one's own. The ideal relationship for them was one of harmony and mutual respect, where both individuals support each other in the pursuit of virtue and a good life. So, if you are stuck in such a dynamic, reflect on the Stoic principles of balance and respect. Are you respecting yourself by allowing this imbalance? Are you respecting the other person by enabling a dynamic that discourages their growth? Addressing this doesn't necessarily mean ending the relationship. It can be an opportunity for growth. It starts with communication, expressing your needs, setting boundaries, and discussing how to bring more balance. It's about encouraging the other person to contribute more emotionally and spiritually. Healthy relationships are dynamic. They evolve. But the foundation should always be reciprocity, where each person feels valued, heard, and supported. This mutual support builds trust and fosters an environment where both individuals can thrive. Remember, seeking balance is necessary. It's about ensuring you are giving and receiving the love and respect you deserve. This is a difficult subject, but it's crucial. Abuse in any form, physical, emotional, verbal, or psychological, is a clear, unequivocal signal to leave. Stoicism, a philosophy rooted in dignity and self-respect, unequivocally condemns any form of abuse. Such behavior violates Stoic principles and destroys the trust a relationship should be built upon. Stoicism teaches the importance of recognizing our inherent worth and maintaining our dignity. When these principles are violated, Stoicism urges us to take action, not out of vengeance, but out of respect for ourselves. Abuse tramples on dignity. It seeks to diminish the victim's sense of self to control and instill fear, which is antithetical to everything Stoicism represents. The Stoic response is clear. Seeking help and exiting the relationship is not just important, it's necessary. It aligns with the Stoic commitment to living a life that is virtuous and dignified. Exiting an abusive relationship is one of the hardest decisions one can make. It takes immense courage and support. This is where seeking help from friends, family, or professionals is invaluable. It's not a sign of weakness, but of strength, an affirmation of your worth, and a commitment to a life free from harm. Moreover, Stoicism emphasizes healing and reclaiming your dignity after such experiences. It teaches that while you cannot control others' actions, you can control your response and how you move forward. The journey of healing is a Stoic journey, reasserting control over your inner world and rebuilding your life. Be clear, if you are facing abuse, it is not your fault, and you are not alone. Reaching out for help and taking steps to leave are actions of profound self-respect. They are steps toward a life where your dignity and well-being are prioritized. Your safety and dignity are the highest law. Failed communication is a tough hurdle, isn't it? What happens when trying to talk leads nowhere and finding common ground seems impossible? This isn't just a bump in the road, it's a red flag. Effective communication is the lifeblood of any relationship. It's how we express needs, share thoughts, and connect. Without it, we're navigating in the dark. The Stoics understood the value of clear, honest communication. They emphasized listening, understanding, and responding with wisdom and empathy. So, what do we do when communication breaks down? First, recognize that failed communication is often a symptom of underlying issues, a lack of trust, unresolved resentments, or different styles. Stoicism teaches us to approach the problem with a clear head, looking inward at our own role. Marcus Aurelius would likely suggest applying reason to the problem. Where is the communication failing, and why? Improving communication takes effort. It's about creating a safe space where everyone feels heard. It's about actively listening and expressing yourself clearly and respectfully. And most importantly, having the patience to keep trying. Stoicism also reminds us of the importance of empathy. Remember, everyone has their struggles. By approaching communication with empathy, we open the door to deeper understanding. Failed communication doesn't have to end a relationship. It can be an opportunity for growth. It's a chance to learn more about each other and build a stronger bond. So, if you face communication challenges, reflect on the principles of clarity and honesty. Use them as your guide. Picture a relationship that instead of being a source of peace, feels like a constant storm, disturbing your inner calm. It's tough when the very connections that should enrich our lives end up costing us our peace of mind. This is a clear signal to pause and reflect. Stoicism, a philosophy that values tranquility immensely, teaches us to cultivate an inner calm undisturbed by external events. They believed peace of mind is essential for living a good life. So, what do we do when a relationship disrupts our tranquility? First, Stoicism encourages us to step back and examine the situation. Ask yourself, why does this relationship disturb my peace? Is it their behavior or my own reactions? This moves us from emotion to rational response. Once you've identified the source, consider what can be changed. Can issues be addressed with honest communication? Do boundaries need to be set? Remember, Stoicism doesn't advocate passive acceptance. While it teaches us to accept what we cannot change, it encourages action where we can make a difference. However, if after careful effort the relationship continues to bring turmoil, it may be time to question its place in your life. This isn't giving up at the first sign of trouble, it's recognizing a fundamental misalignment. The decision to distance yourself requires courage. But remember, the Stoic goal is to cultivate inner resilience that allows us to face challenges with equanimity. Ultimately, the relationships we choose should support our pursuit of tranquility, not undermine it. If you find yourself consistently disturbed, consider it a chance to practice Stoic wisdom. Let's strive to surround ourselves with people who contribute to our tranquility. In doing so, we honor the Stoic teachings and our own journey toward peace and fulfillment. Remember, the quality of our lives is shaped by the quality of our relationships. As we part ways today, carry the Stoic principles we've explored. Let them be your guide through the joys and challenges of your relationships. The pursuit of tranquility, virtue, and wisdom is a journey we are all on together. If this conversation sparked a desire for more exploration and growth, click the playlist on your screen to dive deeper into Stoicism. Let's continue to grow together, to challenge ourselves, and cultivate lives of profound meaning. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, keep striving for that tranquility and wisdom. Remember, in the tapestry of life, we are all connected through our shared humanity and our quest for a good life. See you in the next video.